All-Ireland Final's on this weekend, Peter. I mean, how do you see that one going? I mean, do you think it's possible Galway could turn Kilkenny over for a second time this year?
Well, people have been saying all week that nobody has beaten Kilkenny twice in one championship season, but that's also mainly because no team has actually played them twice in one season. You know, Kilkenny normally go straight through the front door, so if they are beaten, they don't have a second chance to come back at you. So this is something new for Kilkenny. Like, they have revenge on their mind. Whenever they lose against a team, the first thing they want to do is beat them again and you know, show that they are superior and they have a chance pretty quickly. And it's going to be a massive motivating factor for Kilkenny. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And Galway are going to have to be very much prepared for that because you know, it's going to be a very intense game. Kilkenny will have that right to the forefront of their mind.
The first 15 minutes is going to be where it's at, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know yourself, Kilkenny are going to set the tone or try and set the tone there, and if Galway take any backward step there, they're gone.
Kilkenny have to match them physically at the start, and I think it's very important that Joe Canning has a big match. It seems like an obvious thing to say, but if Joe doesn't have a big match, it puts a hell of a lot of pressure on the likes of Damien Hayes probably. And
well, if he has a big match, he's going to win Hurl of the Year regardless of the result, you'd imagine. So that's the kind of form he's in, and they need him.
I think the first few shots, the likes of David Burke and probably Cyril Donlan are going to be crucial because Kilkenny forwards have been at this level and done it so often. I think if they pop over their first couple of chances, it'll give them great confidence. They'll be right in the game, and as the game goes on, they'll grow into it if they get that good start. But if they don't get the good start, I think they could be in trouble.
Well,
confidence could.
We were talking earlier, Karl, and something which would give you a bit of faith in Galway, obviously, is they have a very tactically astute manager. You know, and you'd expect him to have something maybe a little new worked out for this weekend. It'd be interesting to see what that is. You were saying that, you know, he has a football background, and maybe that kind of stands to him a small bit. Kind of reminds you of the way a football team sets up in some regards.
He's managed St Bridget's and Roscommon to three in a row county titles, and the same with Gary Castle and Westmeath. So he has a background in football. Like he is an All-Ireland one in minor, under 21 and senior hurler, but he's managed football teams, so he's tactically very clued in, and you had to be impressed with what he's doing this year. You could even see it going back to the Leinster semi-final against Offaly. Whenever he played with just two forwards inside and brought Damien Hayes out the pitch, and he scored 5 goals that day. It opened up so much space inside that he scored 5 goals, and that's kind of set the tone for how they set up.
What people remember out of that day is that they conceded 3 goals against a pretty average team, and everyone concentrated on that. But obviously, that was, you know, it wasn't ideal, but it was.
Well, the 3 goals that they did concede were the goalkeeper James Cahill was just back from injury, so he wasn't as sharp as he admitted that this week. So, and another one was a defensive mistake, another one was from a free at the end when the game was over. So, I don't think at the time Galway people were too bothered with conceding goals. They were more interested in the fact that they had found a way to score goals at the other end, which is what you have to do against Kilkenny. You have to score goals to beat them.
And it wasn't all about Joe Canning as well. You know, he's obviously not a main player, but he wasn't.
Well, David Burke is weighed and he scored 4-6 from play this year, which has been massive for them. Damien Hayes, I think, is 110 from play this year as well. There's actually been players, Burke and Hayes, have outscored Joe Canning from play this year. Like Canning has been in great form, but the two boys have really taken the burden off his shoulders. They have a big role to play at the weekend. It's going to be interesting to see, as you say, tactically what way Kilkenny set up, because Kilkenny never want to move JJ Delaney out of full back, Brian Hogan out of number 6, Tom Walsh out of right half back, and Galway found a way to shift them around and open up space and get goals last day.
So. We were talking about Joe Canning there. Obviously, Henry Shefflin is going to play a big part in this game as well. Bit like Joe, he's not scoring so many from play. You know, I think he's coming up on his 33rd birthday. He's probably past his very best, but he's still the best there ever was. Yeah. But he still exerts a massive influence on games.
You saw the goal against Tipperary.
Yeah,
it was his first clean possession, almost half an hour into the match, and he fed an absolutely beautiful hand pass.
Most people couldn't throw it that far, and he hand passed it.
It was just
20 yards right onto the spot,
and it was in the back of the net from a couple of seconds later. And TJ Reid, was it, I think, put it in the back of the net. That was the defining moment in that match, and I mean that's what great players do. You don't see them for half an hour and then they come in and totally turn the game on its head. So
if they are 3 points down at half time or into the second half, he's the player they'll all be looking to as well. He's the leader of that team. You know, he's not the captain anymore. Owen Larkin isn't. They have leaders all over the field, but he is the man. Like he's Brian Cody's. He's Cody's man. Exactly.
Cody's man. Even in the Leinster final against Kilkenny, you seen that in the second half he was the fellow that was trying to lead the fight back. Even whenever they were getting hammered off the pitch, he almost won a penalty at a stage. He raided through and goal.
Well, what's interesting is they never stopped in that game, even though they were 12 points down. You know, they got to within 8 at one stage and never stopped.
Well, that's what Galway know. They're going to have to go to the wire. It was the same with Tip, and Tip did beat them. And they were going for the 5 in a row in 2010. It was the same. They went right to the final whistle. And that's what they will do on Sunday, and if Galway don't go with them, they stand no chance.
Galway have a chance in this game, but I suppose you'd have to favour Kilkenny because the incredible hunger they've shown all through Brian Cody's time in charge. He's there since '99, and Henry Shefflin is the embodiment of that. I suppose he played all 60 games, which no other player has done. They've been, this is their 12th All-Ireland Final, I think it is, in 14 seasons, which
it's remarkable.
Phenomenal.
Well, I think a more remarkable statistic is that when it's come to the crunch and knockout championship hurling, they've only lost one game in the last 7 years, and that was the 5 in a row game. Like they have been, they were beaten by Galway in the Leinster final, but there was a back door when it came to the real knockout stuff. They've lost one championship game in 7 years, so I mean it's very hard to back against them. Although there is a way for Galway to win, like by unsettling them, by trying to move their backs around, by scoring goals.
But that's what Galway. That's what Galway are going to do. They did it the last day. They played 4 across the half-forward line, 5 sometimes, leaving just 1 inside, getting players drifting out to midfield to obviously try to unsettle. Kilkenny won't move their 6 backs, so they'll flood that area. They'll get extra bodies back. So what Galway are going to have to do early on is try and clip points from distance, 65-yard ones. And that's, so Joe is going to have to be out the field firing those over. Then the game will open up a small bit, and then maybe you'll see Joe going in on top of JJ Delaney full back, full forward duel, and then they'll try and hit him when there's a bit more space inside. And that's that's the ideal game scenario.
It's interesting that they've gone for them to see if they've, like, I think there'll probably be a lot of physical stuff in the first couple of minutes, but they've gone for the jugular in every game they played. Conor Cooney had 2 goals against Offaly in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and Joe had the ball in the back of the net in the first 3 or 4 minutes against Kilkenny in the Leinster final. So the first 10 minutes is going to be crazy stuff.
So looking at it, stacking it all up, what do you think?
Probably you have to favour Kilkenny, but like Cunningham is a very convincing character as a manager, and his team seem to be hanging on every word he says. So if they follow his game plan to the last letter, they have a big chance. But it's very hard to back against Kilkenny in any match. I mean,
I agree with you. 11-4 and 4-11 doesn't seem very. I don't think that's a fair reflection.
No.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very, very close game. Galway do have a great chance, but yeah, you'd have to agree with Kilkenny in the end.
Yep.